that that business has been taken care of, good evening and welcome to the June 11th, 2014 meeting of the Falmouth Conservation Commission. First item on the agenda are minutes. May 14th.
Madam Chair, I've read the minutes of May 14th.
Excuse me, gentlemen, if you would like to carry on your conversation, you're welcome to do it around the corner out in the hall. Thank you.
I had one minor correction. It was changing a word from low to ongoing, and provided it to the secretary.
Okay.
Second.
Any other comments? Okay, motion and second for the minutes, to approve the minutes of May 14th. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous, so moved. June 4th,
We
2014.
need to get the Mel was on autumn and I she just put it down to hold in place. We need
Oh.
to get the table.
Well, I knew I hadn't read them.
No.
At least this time I'm not going to say,
Wait.
oh, I've read the minutes, and they're
I
fine.
just looked at FCTV, they're gonna get the CD for us so we can do it. This is,
Okay, good. Request for continuance of determination of applicability. Charles and Thomas Crane, 39 Juniper Point, Woods Hole, for permission to install and maintain an 8-inch water main, fire hydrant, 1-inch water services, and the repaving of approximately 500 linear foot portion of Juniper Point Road.
yes, Madam Chairman, the applicant is requesting July 16th.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the table to,
Continue this.
Mario, to approve staff's recommendation of a negative
Oh,
determination.
no, this is a
Oh, no,
continuance.
of a continuance.
Yep.
Well, see, Susan was listening too. She's like, what are you talking about? Dude, that would have been easy for Mike. You could have come and gone, Mike, and I would have given you an approval. Okay, let's start again. We have a motion and a second on the table for a continuance to
July 16th.
July 16th. Any further questions on the board? Any questions from the audience? All in favor of the motion on the table, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous, so moved. Request for continuance of hearings under a notice of intent. Richard Nugent, 53 Edgewater Drive West, East Falmouth, for permission to construct a new single-family house deck, AC units, outdoor shower, patio install, a new Title V sewage disposal system, shell driveway, utilities, dry wells, native plantings, and the associated clearing, excavating, grading, and landscaping. Hi.
Yes, Madam Chairman, the applicant is requesting continuance to June 25th.
So moved.
The site was staked this morning for you.
Oh, well, too late.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
We have a motion. Could I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second to continue to June 25th. Does anybody have any questions?
No, but I got one comment.
I have a comment, too.
Oh.
You go first.
I'm glad that they staked. It's unfortunate that this is a continuance, and it's through no fault of this board that this receives a continuance. Twice myself, and I've witnessed other board members going out to a site. We are all volunteers on here, and it's known that these projects need to be staked for us to make adequate judgment on what's on the ground and the regulations. And I do not like doing continuances. However, this one, twice I went out during the week, and like I said, and witnessed others as well. And it's really unfortunate. I hope they take it to heart, and others that hear this, that communication is big. You know, if you got a question about it, reach out. You know, don't think that we're the bad guys on a continuance.
Also, Jen, since I was one of the people that Tom met out there, this is just down the street from where we had a riverfront project. So have them
Yeah.
check that it's not
Okay.
also a riverfront regulation.
But I'll double
Yeah.
check.
Okay,
Motion
did
second.
we take the vote?
No,
Okay, motion and a second on the table for continuance to
June 25th.
June 25th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous, so moved. Request for determination of applicability. 55 Church Street Realty Trust, Carol Pierce, 55 Church Street, Woods Hole, for permission to repair an existing area of erosion north of the pier by placing a bed of trap rock covered with sand, planted with woody shrubs and beach grass, any vegetation removed to be replaced in kind. Jen?
Yes, Madam Chairman, even though your staff report says recommending a
Positive determination.
positive 3, I'm going to recommend a -2 under the state and the bylaw. We did talk to the contractor. I know Mark has some concerns with placing trap rock in this area and then planting over it. I don't think just the plantings alone are going to withstand the wave energy. and
They're
the-
not.
and
They're gonna
the-
get
and the
washed out.
action over there. So I just spoke with the contractor, and they're willing to kind of adopt some of the recommendations that Mark was saying, so put the trap rock down, sand down,
Cover it with jute mat.
cover it with jute, and then plant it. And we'll try that one first.
Okay.
I have to recuse.
Oh, from the
vote.
Okay. You don't have to go away.
Okay.
Okay, so do we have a motion on the table to accept staff's recommendation
I'll make a motion to accept the
Of a
staff's
negative.
recommendations of a negative.
determination? And for those of you who are unfamiliar with RDAs, a negative determination means you can go ahead and do the work that has been proposed.
Second?
It's what you want to hear a negative, if you're in the audience for this. Okay, motion is second on the table. Are there any other questions?
This is a positive?
No, it's a negative. That says positive. We're ignoring that positive because Jen and Tom and I discussed it, and we looked at it on the map.
I've been out in the field as well. with the
Okay.
contractor.
Okay, so the motion on the table is to accept Jen's recommendation of a
Negative.
negative determination. Are there any questions from the audience? Okay, we'll take the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous, so moved.
All right.
The next is Town of Falmouth. Well, Scott, you're here for two, so you're going to get 1 out of 2 tonight. Engineering Department, care of Scott Schloiter. T-ticket path from T-ticket highway to 55 T-ticket path, East Falmouth, for permission to grind and repave a section of T-ticket path, install 5 new leaching basins, 2 new catch basins, clean an existing stormwater system, and the associated excavating, digging, and grading.
Yes, Madam Chairman, and following your last statement, the town's not going to like what happens. We're recommending a positive 3, although there are drainage issues down there, and we fully support addressing them. The amount of work and the conditioning involved with this project, the staff just does not feel comfortable recommending this work be done under an RDA. I've already spoken with the town engineering department. They're well aware of my recommendation, so it's going to be a positive 3. A notice of intent will be required for this project.
Okay, and for those of you, again, with the RDA process, if it's a positive determination, it doesn't mean you can't do the work. What it means is if you'd like to do the work, you have to come in with a notice of intent so that we can condition the work.
Motion to accept staff's recommendation of a positive.
Second?
Okay, any questions on the board? Any questions from the audience? Okay, there's a motion and a second on the table to accept staff's recommendation of a positive determination. I'm sure we'll see Scott in a few weeks or months. No, maybe not. He's not going to come back to see us again. Okay, all in favor of the motion on the table, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous, so moved. Town of Falmouth Water Quality Management Committee, care of Sia Carplus, off east end of Oak Street, off Upalong Road, Sea Farms, east off 44 to 50 Shaker Lane, in Israel's Cove, west off 103 to 108 Nashawina Street, south off Quistit Harbor Road, for permission to grow oyster spat on shell in trays approximately 5 feet by 10 feet in nearshore area, 1 tray per site. Jen?
Yes, Madam Chairman, we are recommending a -2 under the state and the bylaw of the resource area not confirmed for these locations to do the pilot project with the contingent that we get written approval from the Division of Marine Fisheries,
Okay.
So
which I
moved.
know the applicant has been in contact with them today, but has not received their approval in writing by email, so we're just waiting for that.
Yep,
So moved.
okay.
And second.
Do
And,
you have a question?
yeah, and in total, it's going to be 5 sites?
So you have to go to the mic.
Sia Karpus, Technical Liaison to the Water Quality Committee. There are 4 sites
4,
proposed.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Sia. Are there any questions? Yes. You have to come up to the audience, to the audience. You have to come up to the microphone and tell us who you are.
My name is Philip Bonanno. We live off Shaker Lane on Bourne's Pond. Just curious, what is this oyster thing? Don't understand it.
Okay, maybe Sia would tell us a little bit about it.
We appreciate that.
Okay.
Hi, the project is to grow on a tray that's 5 feet by 10 feet long, oysters that are called remote set, which means there are shells with oyster spat seed on the shell. And it's to grow them to see if they grow in this area, and if they grow, how fast they grow in a season. So it's one 5 by 10 tray with this oyster seed growing in it.
In the mud?
There are some sandier areas. We're going to look for an area that looks suitable. And the trays have a PVC pipe on the bottom of them, so it keeps them off the muck as well.
Will they be visible?
Probably not.
And how far off the shore?
That is a great question. I think we're looking at probably 20 feet or so off the shore. But we have to actually go out. Once the Conservation Commission says that this is an okay project, our next step is to actually go in and cite an exact location.
How many of these?
One,
Just one?
just one.
In all of one farm?
Yes.
Yeah, are you going to buoy them? So
Yes.
that people can see them? I mean, if you're in your kayak or something?
We'll certainly buoy them so we know where they are.
Well, there are other ways to find them by buoying them, but I'm just thinking if you use the surface of Bourne's Pond for boating or whatever. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so there's a motion and a second on the table to accept staff's recommendation of a negative determination. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous, so moved. Continued request for determination of applicability. Charles and Thomas Crane, 39 Juniper Road, Woods Hole. We've continued this to
July 16th.
July 16th. The request for hearings under a notice of intent. All hearings of the Falmouth Conservation Commission are heard simultaneously under the authority of the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Falmouth Wetlands Bylaw. Although a single decision is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. First one is Richard Nugent, 53 Edgewater Drive West, and that's continued to July 25th.
June 25th.
June 25th, sorry. Continued request for hearings under a notice of intent. William and Karen Monroe, 26 and Lot 179 Ferry Road, East Falmouth, for permission to install vinyl sheet piling behind the existing revetment at 26 Ferry Road, extending southwest to the existing bulkhead on Lot 179, and add boulders on the top of the coastal bank on Ferry Road.
Yes, Madam Chairman, the quorum is Mike, Tom, Courtney, and Betsy. Could you hear this one?
Mike,
Tom, Courtney, and yourself.
okay, the four of us.
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, Mike.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, members of the Commission. For the record, my name is Michael Borselli from Falmouth Engineering, and I represent the applicant. We're here tonight as a continuation of a hearing that was initially held back in January. At that time, we made our initial presentation for permission to install a composite sheet pile bulkhead behind the existing stone revetment and along Ferry Road in the unstabilized area to connect to another composite sheet pile bulkhead that you recently approved and has been installed. And at that initial hearing, there were comments and concerns raised by abutters with interest in Ferry Road. There's been some comments and issues raised by the Commission. Some time has gone by. There have been a couple of continuances, and the net result of that is a revised plan has been submitted to you. that we believe addresses issues and concerns raised by people that contend to have rights in Ferry Road, and it also addresses issues and concerns that were raised by the commission at the initial hearing. The plan has been revised so that the proposed sheet pile bulkhead that initially connected over to the approved bulkhead on the Thoreau property has been revised to remove it and eliminate it entirely from Ferry Road and propose a return on it. So it's very similar to what was installed on the Thoreau property. And this eliminates any work or installation of a bulkhead in Ferry Road. So issues and concerns raised by folks with concerns about Ferry Road, we believe have been eliminated. It also eliminates issues and concerns raised by the commission about whether or not there was the ability to armor a portion of a coastal bank that was not previously armored. So the revision to the plan, we believe, accomplishes those two things by making it have a layout that is entirely on Lot 22, owned by the Monroe family. We also submitted an invasive removal methodology that was prepared by Will Monroe, who's an arborist and in this business, and Mr. Monroe's in the audience along with Karen Monroe, if there's any questions. We were proposing to remove 2 trees in order to do this work, and it was suggested to us then that we should consider mitigation for removing the 2 trees. So we proposed 2 additional trees on the plan to mitigate for the 2 that were being removed. So with that, we think we've satisfied your issues and concerns, and we believe we've addressed any concerns from the neighbors, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Mike. Jen?
No, Madam Chairman, I think the plan does address all the commission's concerns.
Any questions on the board? No? No? No?
I have enough information.
Okay.
Motion to close and take it under advisement.
Second.
Are there any questions from the audience?
My name is Mike McGrath. I'm a registered engineer and a professional land surveyor. I work for Holmes and McGrath, and we would like to file some testimony. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mike.
I'm going to summarize what's in the letter. First, I would like to make specific comments on the Monroe plan. We've looked at the plan, and there's a 90-degree turn at Ferry Road at the southeasterly corner of the site. And given that this coastal bank has obviously been disturbed because of the unpermitted removal of some coastal stairs, a bulkhead, and a pier, we think that this is going to cause a threat of erosion. The second point is that the resource area buffers are not shown on the plan as they exist today. The third thing says that the construction will destroy all the vegetation on the shore and the coastal bank. What I'd like to do now is give you some large-scale pictures. These are taken in 2012 when we conducted a site visit for certificate of compliance on the Monroe parcel. we always take pictures when we do certificate of compliance visits because the town does. Occasionally, we find people who say to us, oh, all that existed at the time of the compliance. What I would call your attention to is that the photographs show that there's a vegetation all the way across the site. This, if you look at the plan and the details, they're going to take out all this vegetation and they're going to put in a Amorphola. Well, I don't believe Amorphola provides the same wildlife habitat as the woody indigenous plants that are there. So the substitution of the beach grass, I think, robs the connectivity of wildlife habitat in the vegetation along the coastal bank. The construction access is not shown, and there appears to be insufficient room for equipment between the deck of the house and the riprap for the equipment. So the access should be designated and described. There's no description on the plan that we had that stated whether or not the trees at the northeasterly corner of the existing riprap will be preserved. If you look at the third photograph, there's more than one or two trees that are threatened. There's quite a few trees. So I think that should be addressed. Since the Board of Selectmen are required to issue a special permit for bulkheading along the shore of the Seapit River, the applicant has to file a special permit with the Board of Selectmen before the Commission can hold a hearing. The applicant has to file copies of the application with the Commission. That's a requirement of the state law. There was a pier, boardwalk, bulkhead, and shared community dock in the end of Ferry Road that were removed without proper permit. And since the original location of the stairs is within the northerly half of the Ferry Road layout, which by implication belongs to these owners, we ask that the Commission not issue any order that would preclude the rebuilding of the stairs. The removal of the coastal stairs has damaged the coastal bank, and it's never been restored. So we point that out to you. We also believe that it doesn't meet the requirements of 1035, which basically says that when you design coastal bulkhead revetments or seawalls, that you can't have an adverse effect on nearby coastal beaches due to the change in wave action. That goes back to the 90-degree corner at the southeast corner that is at or on a beach. And I believe that the way that it's designed, it will increase erosion. I think that what I like to do now is, it would seem that the Monroes would expect that they would end up with the same finished product as the Thoreau project, which is right next door. And so what I would like to do now is describe the completed Thoreau work and describe to you the adverse impact that was caused by the Thoreau work and also by the unauthorized removal of the stairs, bulkhead, and pier. Attached to your letter are small-scale versions of these photographs. You have 811 and labeled A, B, A2. And the first photograph I'm going to show you shows the vegetative condition of the coastal bank. This, we're standing on what used to be Truman Schnabel's land, which is out on the road. We're looking towards the Thoreau site. And at the base of the coastal bank of the Thoreau is a very, I would describe it as a short timber bulkhead. These are taken in 2012. If you flip it over, you'll see the new vinyl sheeting, about 8 foot tall according to the permit plans. If you go back and look, you can catch, there is the community pier that was removed, and here's, you can see the stair rail in the foreground in front of this. If you look at the third photograph, you can see that there are plants. There are plants at the top of the bulkhead and behind it. If you go back and look, and there are copies of the permit plan attached. For instance, if you go back and look at Exhibit D, and look at sheet 104, it shows the proposed work, it shows a post and rail fence, and then it shows some band of mitigation. If you were to, there are attached to Exhibit D, we can only make small copies, so I've given you copies of the details and copies of the plan. And the bottom line is that this plan didn't show the existing vegetation, but you approved it. Now you go to the next sheet, Exhibit F. If you look, this is an as-built. If you start at the hub and tack at the southerly side of Ferry Road, that's just behind the bulkhead, approximately at the corner, at the corner here, and you look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 significant trees all near that stake. If you flip over and you look at the large-scale photographs I gave you, and if you look at the photographs in here, there's approximately 4 trees missing. If you look further, there is a copy of a plan that showed, if you flip back to Exhibit C, there was a set of stairs, a bulkhead, a walkway, and a timber pier that extended out into the river. That was also shown on the first photograph. If you look at this exhibit, they are gone. If you look at that coastal bank and you compare it to the vegetation that must have existed, you can't see all of it, but it was heavily vegetated. The unpermitted work has actually resulted in adverse impacts on the environment because vegetation's lost, plus this is now an eroding coastal bank that wasn't eroding. I personally have seen there was an erosion that was occurring at the corner of this, in that area. And if you look at the last 2 exhibits, Exhibit H and H2, H is a pile of sand that exists there right now at the top of the Thoreau bulkhead right here. There was an erosion through there. And that's a significant problem to have unpermitted fill being placed on the bank. The net result of all this is that my clients can no longer reach the waters of the Sea Pit River. If you look at Exhibit G, that's one of my clients. That is a very steep coastal bank. We would ask the commission to consider, when you decide how to review the Monroe, look at the kind of destruction of vegetation that occurred because of this construction. consider that there's no natural vegetation left. Connectivity I've been told that it's very important to have connectivity. There's none there. And so I would hope that you should be aware of this physical barrier, this attempt to use your rules in making it very difficult for the inland landowners to build their, to restore what they had, and have their stairs, walkway, and pier back. It has been there in excess of 40 years. There's an affidavit in the file. We have filed to put that pier back, and there are affidavits in that file. I would hope that you would go out and look at the plants that exist. Those plants that exist at the top and behind the Thoreau are not on your list. I don't know how they're there, but in any case, you ought to give some serious consideration to what's happened at this site and look at the adverse consequences of the Thoreau actions, the Thoreau as built, and I believe that if you allow them to take out the vegetation and put in dune grass, that's going to be very adverse to wildlife habitat. I'd be happy to answer any questions that the commission might have.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
All I can say is you can condition the plant material during deliberations.
I'm aware of that. Thank you, Jen. Are there any other comments?
I am not experienced
You have
in
to
the...
tell
Oh,
us.
sorry, Karen Monroe. My husband and I own 26 Ferry Road. The only appearance in front of a board was you months ago. And at that time, I was under the impression that they were asked not to submit anything without a 5-day notice so that we could all look at it and respond. And as far as I know, they didn't. So we have no time to look at this to refute anything that he said, most of which I disagree with. I also feel that the Thoreau property has nothing to do with my armoring of our property, and it's just confusing the matter. So I don't know where to go with this.
What I would suggest is that you sit down and let us close the hearing, take it under advisement, and talk about it in deliberation.
Okay.
Bob?
Good evening. Bob Ament, an attorney. I represent a group of inland landowners in the Seapit area who have concerns about the project, who continue to have concerns even with revision to the application. I have a brief letter that I'll give you, and I'll just summarize it. Mike McGrath already referred to 1035. It also referred to 1039, which provides that any project on a coastal bank, a significant coastal bank, shall have no adverse effects on the stability of the coastal bank. And it doesn't appear to us that in the revised filing or in any other way, the applicant has addressed the requirements of these sections. It seems that the proposed 90-degree turn, the proposed wall along the north edge of Ferry Road actually contemplates that the road layout itself is going to be allowed to erode, because that 16-foot section of wall is intended to stop erosion, and we're concerned that, and the reason why McGrath has brought up Thoreau is because the same situation is proposed to be created, which is causing erosion on the other side of Ferry Road, and that the same may occur here. We think that these concerns should be addressed for the commission by a qualified coastal geologist engaged by the applicant. Mr. Borselli, in his correspondence to the board on June 3rd, stated that the new bulkhead does not constitute new armoring of the coastal bank, particularly with respect to the 16-foot return along Ferry Road, we think that it most certainly is a new bulkhead, new armoring. So we respectfully disagree with that and feel that the requirements for that armoring have not been addressed, have not been met. And as I said, our concern in particular is with the effect it will have on the way. And we aren't sure of what all those effects are, but that hasn't been addressed in the application or tonight. We think that a cooperative effort to protect the properties, including the way, ought to be undertaken, but our efforts to participate in that with the applicants have simply been unsuccessful. We were not even told that the new filing, that is the revisions, were coming in until we received them after they were filed last Wednesday afternoon. We didn't receive them until Thursday. It's quite understandable that as in a sense, the respondents to the receipt of those documents, it's taken us some time to be able to respond. So here's the correspondence that I prepared.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Are there any other questions?
Can I just comment?
Yes.
You can, but you got to do it at the podium.
I think we've been listed for a continuance for over a month. This is not new to Mr. Ament or to Attorney Wood, so I don't understand their surprise that we're going through with this hearing.
Yeah, they're allowed to give testimony tonight and put things in the record. We'll have it in the record.
I just want to make sure it's in the
Yeah,
record.
we have 2 weeks. We don't meet next week. We have 2 weeks to discuss this.
Thank you.
Everything's in the record.
Mike?
Yeah, Madam Chairman, I just want to say a couple final things. I don't think we're going to request a continuance. I would like an opportunity to table it for 2 minutes just to talk to my client about that, to make a decision if we want to table, continue or close.
Understand, excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt. Understand, we have a motion and a second to close this and take it under
I
advisement.
understand.
We have accepted all the information that I believe is necessary.
I understand.
And,
I just want to have 2 minutes, if I could, to just talk to them, and that'll be it.
My patience tonight has worn thin on it. I appreciate information. Everybody needs to have it, and everybody wants to understand it. I just got a whole bunch handed to us, and I'm absorbing it just as much as anybody else, but realize we got a couple weeks that we're going to be deliberating on this. And
Well, that speaks right to my point, Madam Chairman. We need to decide if we want to reply to that information that was just submitted, or let the
I will tell you how I feel.
testimony.
I think your testimony as an engineer and what you had done as what this commission had asked, I am satisfied with the information that you gave us as requested by this board. That's me personally. I am fulfilled with the information that I need from that project on both sides right now.
All right, with that, I just was...
With that, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of closing this hearing and take it under advisement, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous, so moved.
Thank you.
Jeff, you're up next. Catherine Barrett France and Heidi France Dale, 8 Millfield Street, Woods Hole, with permission to repair and maintain a 65 linear feet of stone seawall, construct a 1-foot-high stone wall behind the seawall with fill behind, restore salt marsh area, construct 4-foot by 10-foot granite cobble wall, replace wood rail fence, reconstruct 70 linear feet of retaining curb, and the associated clearing, excavating, grading, and landscaping. Jen, do you have any comments before Jeff? How's some changes?
Mike, Ross, Betsy, and Mario. And the changes incorporated as we we discussed in the field, there's no secondary wall, just a grade. We're going to be putting more substantial vegetation.
Okay.
This is,
Jeff?
Good evening, I'm Jeff Ryder with BSS Design, representing the applicants. Also, Mark Manganello is here in the front row. The applicants are here as well. Just want to go over this resource area real quick with you again. We got the pond, a little bit of coastal beach. We had the subject of the project, which is the seawall, which is also coastal bank. Salt marsh on the landward side of the seawall, and then we have buffer, and then back to coastal bank, then coastal storm flowage. So a slew of resource areas on the line. So the last time we were here, there was a discussion primarily about the delineation of the salt marsh. So I believe staff, Mario Di Gregorio and Mark, met on site. It was determined that perhaps it would be best if that secondary retaining wall along the 3-foot contour there be removed and just place some fill and grade that down gently from the fill that we're putting in behind what used to be the wall. So that pitch is shown here, a 3-to-1 slope over 1 foot in elevation, so it's 3 feet wide, a slight berm. We're putting fill here to level this off, to make it a usable place. Right now it's sort of sloping down in the salt marsh. It's creeping into this area. So the major change is that wall is out and there's a new 4-foot contour placed here, creating that bermed off area. So now we're going to be planting salt marsh behind the new wall that we show here, up to this little walkway that we propose. So this area, including the slope, will be wetland plants. We did submit a new planting plan dated June 2nd. It shows the placement of the shrubbery mitigation, as well as the what's stippled in blue is all the salt marsh grasses that we propose to plant there after the construction of the wall. I don't know if Mark, do you want to come up and talk? I think Mark's all set. If you have any questions on that planting plan, there's a new set of specs up here on the plan. Oh, and by the way, the basic yardage of soil to be brought in is 30 cubic yards, which is going to be primarily topsoil in here. Okay?
Okay. Who's on the quorum again?
Jeff, thank you, Mark, for addressing that.
I know Mario and I are on the quorum. Who
Mike,
else?
Russ, Betsy, and Mario.
Mike and Russ?
Wait, I was passing notes to Courtney. Hang on.
Mike, Russ.
Mike, Russ, Betsy, Mario.
Okay. Do any of you have questions?
No, I think that's my concern. It's very nice, thank you.
Very
No,
nice.
thanks. That was we had a nice visit out in the field.
I think LEC and the commission worked together on this one, and the site definitely needs restoration.
Yeah, it's a nice little project.
So it's a good project, and I'm glad we were able to get rid of that secondary retaining wall.
Yep. So do I hear a motion
I'll make the motion
to,
to close the hearing and take it under advisement.
Second.
all right, we have a motion and a second on the table to close the hearing and take it under advisement. Do we have any questions? Questions from the audience? Okay. Sue, you all ready? Motion on the table to close the hearing and take it under advisement. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous, so moved. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Request to amend the existing order of conditions. Matthew and Russelyn Seiler, 10 Nashawina Street, West Falmouth, request to amend the existing order of conditions, DEP number 253968, to reconfigure the approved additions, modify the proposed porches, patios, and walkways, and the associated clearing, excavating, grading, and landscaping. Jen, do you have any
I have no comments right now.
questions? Good evening again, Mike. It's this one, I think.
You issued an order of conditions for this structure, and they have revised the plan by eliminating the very big box, which I've dashed.
Mike, look how big this record is already.
I didn't make it that big.
Wait a minute, like, box. Okay,
The-
got
the-
it. Yeah, I got it.
We got it.
Other ones if you want. And so the amendment is that the lot coverage changes slightly, but not significantly, and that there's a little bit more open space, but it's consumed by a little bit more patio. And so it's essentially the same footprint, it's just different.
Is there any difference in mitigation planning?
No,
Is it increase?
there was no need for us to, the previous plan showed some work in EA, so we did have mitigation plans. I'm sorry, there was previously in one of the versions, there was mitigation plans agreed to. We are not changing the mitigation plans at all, even though it appears to us we don't need them. You get the
Is it
same
increase?
mitigation plans no matter what.
Isn't it increase in footprint in the B zone?
No, we're making it slightly smaller in the B zone.
You're making it, and you're gonna give us,
The B zone only comes to here. So,
okay.
we still get the mitigation plan that you always get.
That you originally, okay, do we have any questions? Questions, Mike?
I believe I'm fine.
Mario?
Close to take it under advisement.
Second.
Questions from the audience?
Mike,
I think there were two of them.
Well, I think there were two at this end. I think there were 4 seconds that time.
Okay, go for the floor. Go for the floor.
There's a motion and a second on the table to close the hearing and take it under advisement. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous, so moved.
Mike, did you already give him one for the file, or is this it?
That's the one,
And that's of the,
that's.
thank you.
Yes.
Town of Falmouth, Harbor Master. Sure.
Open up and give you a happy story.
A happy story, of course. We'll have a little break with a happy story. What's the happy story?
The success of Bay Road Fish Ladder. For the first time in many years, Officer Martinson has seen Dave herring run on this ladder. And just yesterday, we have baby herring coming down the ladder.
Whoa!
Nice,
All right.
There you go.
Successful.
yes.
There you
That is good. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you. You opened up very well.
Okay, well, he hasn't opened up yet. I haven't announced what he's going to tell us about.
That's a different project.
This is a different project, a successful project. Town of Falmouth, Harbor Master, and of course, we
That's
hope
right.
this project is going to be a successful project as well. For those of you, 3 or 4 of us have seen this project, had seen this project in the past, and we asked for a little more work to be done, and since Scott is our resident expert on stormwater engineering, when this project goes back to Michelle's days, who said, oh, you could do this or that or the other, and so Scott did this or that or the other. So this is White's Landing Road, and the request is to amend an existing order that they have to repair the landing, which is DEP 253606, to add a sidewalk, which will be a safety reason, and a new stormwater mitigation design, because lots of runoff from 28, from the parking lot, from White's Landing Road, went into the water there. Improvements to the intersection of Route 28 and parking lot entrance to eliminate special condition number 6 and the associated clearing, excavating, grading, and landscaping. And before you begin, Scott, Jen, would you like to just give a little history of this?
Yes, Madam Chairman, as you said, the board did see this. We were concerned with the original design that was not done by the town, and conditioned it to address the stormwater on-site in a greater manner. particularly love this project. I've been working with the town. How many years has this been going on, Greg? A long time. Hi, Beth, how are you? To see this become a successful project, and I think we're there on the design. The only thing is, I know a couple of you went out on the site. I did not go out on the site only because I've been to this boat ramp numerous times, both recreationally and work-wise. I didn't feel the need to go down there, and I did not realize that the town did not stake the site. So Russ had a conversation with Scott today, and Scott will stake it next week, so you can all go out and look at the extent of that, the bottom part of that boat ramp, so you have a greater idea of what's going on, or comfort level.
Yeah,
And,
I would be, well, we haven't heard the project, but I would be comfortable if he staked it, and any concerns we have, we could close it tonight and we could deliberate
Fine.
on it.
My apologies on that, too. I did not know that you
I
staked
did
out
not.
for the amended order of
Yeah.
conditions.
Okay, Scott, the floor is yours.
All right, as some of you I know, some of you I don't. I'm Scott Schluter. I'm the staff engineer for the DPW Engineering Division. And we also have with us Doug Cameron and Greg Frazier. And we're going to later meet Tim Needham. But we're here for the amendment of the existing order of conditions for White's Landing Road. It is 75-3606. We've already got a little bit of a brief history. I'll go over it really quick. The project is funded through a grant through the Office of Fishing Boating Access. And on September 2nd, 2009, this commission issued an order of conditions, but there are a couple of issues. As mentioned previously, Special Condition 6, all drainage shall be infiltrated into a leaching area. There shall be no outfall pipe discharging stormwater to Childs River. The problem is, under existing conditions, there's half an acre foot of stormwater for the 25-year storm being discharged to Childs River, and the groundwater is very high, about halfway down the road. Zero discharge is not feasible. The previous engineer had looked at doing some design to try to get as close to that as possible, and I was asked to also look at it. We've come back. The Department of Public Works was not consulted on this project. This is a town roadway, and it has been on our to-do list to repave. And one of our concerns was there's no sidewalk going from the parking lot all the way down to the boat ramp. It's a dangerous situation. That was one of the things that we would have required at the beginning had they come to us. Their grant money started to run out for the design of this project, so we were asked to take a look at it ourselves, and since it's our right of way, we just took the whole project on to carry it the rest of the way through. The thing to note about this, there are no changes at all to the boat ramp. This entire area down here has not changed. The layout of the turnaround hasn't changed, just grading around it. So those things that you previously approved, erosion control, everything that was on those plans, the details, all of that is exactly the same. We're not changing any of that. We're dealing strictly with the roadway, sidewalk, and some minor changes up here in the parking lot. I did supply in our package, there is the original set of plans reduced, and I indicated what was still good and what was replaced by new sheets that we created. Hopefully that was clear to everybody. There's a lot of stuff on there I couldn't put in my plans and stamp because I had no part of that design. The main differences between the approved plans and the new ones are we realigned the roadway so we could provide room for a sidewalk on this side of the road here. Pedestrians have to walk down the roadway as it is now. It's very enclosed with all the trees. It's in bad shape. You're dropping off your boat here, you're driving back up, you're coming back down with your coolers, kids. It's not a very good situation. So we wanted to add that sidewalk on there. And because of that, the property line close, we had to move the roadway over a little bit. We've changed the alignment, the profile as well, up at the top end where we intersect 28. The slope existing is just over 7.5%, and our proposed profile gets us to just barely over 5%. That's going to increase this as well. It's a very steep drop off from 28. We flatten that out. We've increased the radius at Route 28. We've worked with the owner of Bosun's Marine here, Tim Needham, to go over onto his property. We're going to work out the details of that once we have an approval, whether it'll be an easement, taking, or what have you. But he has allowed us to come in. He worked with his site and his engineer to make this work. So we've increased this radius from an 18-foot to 45-foot. So coming in here with the big boats is going to be a lot easier than it was. Bosun's Marine has also agreed to start focusing their entrance down to White's Landing Road as opposed to the entrance up here. That's going to give us less entrances along 28, which is dangerous. People stopping, slowing down to take these turns. By giving them this radius, it's also going to improve their ability to get in there. And because they're doing that, they also asked if we could move the parking lot entrance down so that it aligns with their entrance. We lined up with their existing entrance, which gives us a shift. It was about 30 feet south. It worked a lot better for us as well, because now people coming in, as they come in with their trailers, there's a longer length. They're not sticking out into 28 if they stop or slow down. They get us right into the roadway, and then they can come up. We've added 3 accessible spaces in here. We'll be replacing this with a dense grade that is accessible, and then you can get out to the sidewalk and down. The slope of this road, unfortunately, does not meet accessibility. So we looked at what we could do to try to meander the sidewalk. It just wasn't going to happen. The elevation between this parking lot and this roadway is just too much. So we are allowed to keep it if the existing grades are what they are along the road, and you can't meet the regulations. It's unfortunate, but that's what we're stuck with. We've added a new stormwater system. We include leaching pits, CDS by contact sediment removal devices, a sediment forebay, and some additional outlet erosion controls. I'll go into detail a little bit later on that. For the resource area and buffer impacts, as a result of the new design, there were changes, and I've indicated those on the original application. I've marked up on what's changed, so that's clear to you. The original project, they placed it within a riverfront area, but according to the maps, this isn't in the riverfront area. The riverfront area stops up here, just south of 28. So we're not in a riverfront area, so we took that out. We believe they missed the land subject to coastal storm flowage. The revised project will result in 26,200 square feet of alteration in this area, but we increase this flood storage by 19,478 cubic feet. It's mostly due to cutting into this turnaround area here. So we've had a benefit to that resource area, and we've included that in our numbers. We have to increase the coastal beach alteration from 460 square feet to 2,622 square feet. And that's mostly just to kick this roadway over a little bit to fit sidewalk. It's unavoidable. We also increased the coastal bank alteration from 110 linear feet to 220 linear feet. It seems like a lot. What it is the coastal bank now goes like this, jigs and jigs along the pavement edge, and now we're going to be a straight shot. And because of that, it reduced it quite a bit. We also have 62 square feet of salt marsh alteration. Now, the original application didn't call for any salt marsh alteration, but according to the plans, there was about 20 square feet wasn't accounted for. So we're only increasing by 42 square feet. That's the same exact reason. When we move the sidewalk over, there's these little areas of salt marsh along here that are going to be filled in. It's unavoidable. We did get comments from the Division of Marine Fisheries that they would like us to do a 3-to-1 mitigation. I prepared a drawing, a letter here that we can actually meet 3.8 to 1 mitigation, a little better. My feeling is this whole area is probably going to turn into salt marsh anyways. Once we've constructed these riprap areas, it's going to be a nice concentrated area for the plants to start growing. So it should improve, but we'll actually plant these areas to help encourage that.
Do you have the file on this, Jen? I know what the file is in this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did you think that whole big one was Naturalina?
I did too.
Okay, now for the stormwater management. The existing stormwater management system consists of 2 asphalt chutes that discharge the Charles River untreated. There's nothing there. The contributor area consists of White's Landing Road, the boat ramp parking lot up here, and a number of some of the abutting parcels. There's 4.9 acres of land that discharges to Charles River, those 2 chutes, asphalt chutes. The proposed stormwater management system consists of 11 leaching pits, 3 CDS sediment removal devices, a sediment forebay, and outlet erosion control measures for the 2 outlet pipes. We are infiltrating the top portion of the boat ramp access area for the 25-year storm completely. runoff from the top portion of White's Landing Road. That 25-year storm will also be captured, treated, and infiltrated entirely. The leaching pit locations are as low as we could keep them installed to keep them up out of the groundwater. Below that, we don't have the ability to do any more infiltration. Larger storm flows will discharge through the infiltration areas and outlet out through this final manhole down here, and that's in the exact location of one of the asphalt chutes. A significant portion of the lower half of White's Landing Road is going to be captured and treated prior to discharge. We have another catch basin down here, which will discharge to one of the sediment removal devices before it discharges out, and that's the location of the second asphalt chute that's there. The remaining portion of White Landing Road is pitched towards the sediment forebay that we proposed down in the corner here. And the result of this proposed stormwater system will be a reduction from the half an acre foot of water that I mentioned that exists going down there for the 25-year storm, down to a quarter of an acre foot, so we reduce it by about half. Our conclusion here is the current order condition requires zero discharge for the project. This isn't feasible. We think that what we propose on the new plans gets as close as we can get. High groundwater and available room prevent a feasible zero discharge, solution. We ask that the condition be removed. We ask that the plans and reports be approved as shown and amended to the current order conditions. I'll open up to any questions you might have about the design or layout.
Thanks. Jen, any questions?
The only thing staff has to say is I do think it's an improvement of the original design we saw.
A vast improvement. Court,
No questions.
question? Mike?
Significant improvement.
Yeah.
It is an area that is well-used.
Yes.
And this makes it even better. I like it.
Tom?
I'd like to express my thanks to the boatyard. Cooperation like this in the community makes projects like this, which is not only a benefit for us, but for yourselves as well. This, and kudos to the town for extending the olive branch and incorporating this. This, I'm going to mirror what you said. This is a very active site. I can't tell you how many times I've been down there, and the coolers and the comments like that. It's a busy boat ramp. It's a busy area. Form follows function. God love you for letting us take a radius. You know, anybody that does this knows,
Oh, we were walking it, it was,
you know,
that was the first thing I brought up. I'm sorry.
You'd have to come up here.
All right.
just identify yourself for the audience.
Tell us
That's
who
okay.
you are,
There you
that's
go.
okay.
Yeah.
And you have to tell us, who you
Yes,
are.
my name is Tim Leadham, and I'm the owner of Bosun's Marine and the new Bosun's East Falmouth Marina.
Okay.
And with me is Jim Power, he's my general manager on site. And some time ago, I don't have the dates, Andy, Scott came out and introduced himself and told us about the project, and we spent quite a lot of time, walking the area together because we have the same interests. And,
Absolutely.
We're monitoring stormwater runoff. We're dealing with engineers right now on our project. I think, Jen, you know that. And, really the big concern we had was the safety of the cars using the public ramp coming off of 28, coming from the west.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're coming in and the entrance to that parking lot wasn't far enough from 28.
Yeah.
And they stop and the back half of their rig is on 28. The cars are piling up. And if we're going to divert more of our traffic onto the side road, because we want to get off that swale where people are whipping by too, that entrance really needed to come down so people don't pile up as they come into the area. And, Scott made several.
Good design.
Yeah, and it's his design. I just
Yeah.
pointed out the issue, but it's his design. Great process. We're new to the town. I lived just inside Mashpee for 30 years. But, we're going to be coming to the town too with more of our own plans, and not that long from now, so.
Good.
That's it. Thank you.
Yes, I'm just going to mention what Tom said. Just keep good communication for your plans before you get in front of the board.
Sure.
That works out the best.
And one other, again, I was here on the original, and when I listen to someone making a presentation and I start thinking of the Red Sox, it's a compliment. It's because when you listen to the Red Sox on the radio, it's seamless. The announcer knows what's going on and can describe anything, any situation coming up. I enjoyed your presentation. I know that you had boots on the ground because you're seamless when you're telling things. Your information is is spot on. You've incorporated a lot that was not originally presented, and I'm grateful for that.
Question?
Comment.
Comment?
Scott did a nice job. I'll preface this by saying that I think this is a great project. I think it's going to really help the boating community down there in the town and a lot else. But I do have a problem in the process. Earlier this evening, we had a project come before us which got continued because it was not staked. And that's the thing that I'm having a problem with. Like I say, I'm all for it, but I have a little bit of a problem with just booting it right through. If we're gonna hold one standard to the private contractors,
continue it?
it's gotta be all or nothing as far as I'm concerned.
Well, we can continue it to the
25th.
25th, and we'll vote it on the 25th, since we'll lose a quorum if we don't.
Okay.
I too am for the project. It's in the greater public interest. And I know what that area is like on a Saturday morning in the summertime. It's been pretty crazy out there on the 28th. So I appreciate the project. I think it's a very good filing. I guess I have a beef with our regulations regarding what constitutes a minor design change from a moderate. And I mean, you know, the way I look at the regulations, it seems to imply that only minor changes are candidates for amended order conditions. So, you know, but what about moderate? What about severe? There's no definition of what constitutes minor. In my opinion, these are not minor changes.
And if I may.
You know, so what,
Yeah, if I may, how I see it is, what was described more accurately this time as the original hearing, it is a road project. So all that's being proposed, there's no alteration of what the road project is. It's amendments on an entrance and adjustments. It's the same leaching galleys. The lower part of this didn't change other than the sidewalk, and that's a public safety issue. That's a go in any book. And I am very comfortable with the amendment. I can appreciate Russ's position. It being an amendment, I'm a little softer on it, just because it is an amendment and not an original. The other one is an original notice, a first-time notice, but it has not been seen. And kudos for your stand on that. I appreciate it. But I've been to that site probably 15 times, and so it never even came across my thoughts that as an amendment that I didn't even think of it not being staked, but it wasn't. You are correct. But as far as an amendment, I think this is a proper channel for this. I really do, because it's a road project, and it's minor adjustments that are common sense in my eyes.
I agree with you. I think the project is for the greater public good, no doubt about it. So it's not really the project that I have a problem with. Maybe it's with our regulations.
Okay.
Maybe we should spell out and further define what constitutes a minor design change from a moderate.
Okay, but that's another discussion. And like any of our, Jen and I met somebody at the Coastal Conference last week who said, your regulations, you know, it was the comment that if you have a coastal bank and a velocity zone, it's, you know, any part of it in the velocity zone, because the problem is what happens at the base of the bank in a storm. And he said, well, that's fine, but you don't explicitly state it. But anybody who's worked with regulations realizes that there's a balance between being too specific, where you're in a straitjacket, and using reasonable common sense. And so we can discuss that.
I guess that's a different forum,
Yeah.
is what you're saying.
So,
I can.
Madam Chairman, Mario, one question, how they wanted to file this, staff told them to file the amendment, okay, that we would see it under an amendment. I now know that the board has changed, you're a little bit more sensitive to this, and I'll reevaluate projects differently when asked if it could pass under an amendment, that's all. But this was the staff's call.
Staff's advice.
Yes.
Before we, I was going to mention you. I was going to say, before we continue, I also want to mention how much I appreciate Greg's involvement, obviously, in all of this, because at the first hearing, there was some suggestion that, well, if we didn't approve it right away, the project might not go ahead. And Greg is very supportive. He works with other departments in town on a number of projects, including, where's that little fish picture that went by? And I think this is another example, like Cedar Lake, where a number of the town departments worked together, made the regulations, but made the project work. And I think it's great. Now, Greg.
Greg Fraser, Harbor Master. I just wanted to also thank BOCENS because this project has been languishing, as you know, for a while, but Scott has done a tremendous amount of work on this, and we're very happy with the support we've got from the engineering division. And I also did want to recognize our very long-standing relationship with the Office of Fishing and Boating. As you know, or you may or may not know, the town has reaped the benefits of that relationship by having the Falmouth Inner Harbor, Green Pond, Against Harbor, all those ramps probably would not have moved forward without the support of Doug Cameron and his office. So I'd like to thank him very much for everything he's done for the town.
Yep. It's a nice, town, are you state?
Yes.
Yeah, town, state, and private coalition to make it happen. It's good, it addresses a lot of problems. Yeah, Mike.
How soon after the 26th could we see construction?
Not during the summer season.
Well, we have had some very preliminary discussions on that. I think what we are talking about now is the town, the state moving forward with the boat ramp first, and then the town would do, through the Chapter 90 funds, would come and do the road as Phase 2, because those funds, the town has already set aside the $200,000 for this road project, and the state's ready to move forward, or will be shortly, with the state portion for the boat ramp.
I can speak to that a little more. My name's Doug Cameron. I'm the Assistant Director for the Office of Fishing and Boating Access. Our preliminary plan is to hopefully have the construction completed by this time next year, so it would be a springtime construction phase. That's just the way our funding works. We get funding in October and November, can't pour concrete in the middle of the winter, so generally most of all of our boat ramps are constructed in the March, April, May, June time period. So that's a schedule we're looking at right now. As with all state projects, it's subject to funding established by the legislature, and so I can't guarantee that situation, but that's the framework we're working under right now. And hopefully the town will follow shortly thereafter, later in the fall, to do the road work. But I have with me tonight, I'd like to submit to the board, is standard condition number 8 of the original order of conditions required that we submit the DEP Chapter 91 license and Army Corps permit, which we've obtained for the boat ramp. So I'd submit that to the board.
Great. Thanks. We always like it when people follow their orders of condition.
Doug, have you submitted a design for the coffer dam yet, or not?
That was part of the original file.
Okay.
Yep. And I also would like to thank Scott and Greg. I know Scott has done yeoman's work on this, and it's a huge help to the overall project, and we greatly appreciate it. And Greg's help over the years with getting projects done in Falmouth has been just spot on. Falmouth, Barnstable, and Yarmouth are the 3 communities in all of the Commonwealth where we have the most access sites in each town. So
great.
It seems to work great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And my last comment is, there's something about stormwater engineers. We used to have Michelle with us, we see Raoul sometimes, we see Scott. Stormwater engineers, more than any other profession, professional group seem to love what they do. Their eyes sparkle and they love to give all the, well, I'm sure you're not giving, you're skimming,
I skimmed it.
you skim.
Red Sox and then you fall asleep.
Red Sox fall asleep. Okay, so the motion, do we have a motion?
No, we don't.
Okay, so the motion would be,
I'll move to close the hearing and take it under advisement.
Second.
you're not going to continue for the
We need to
staking.
continue?
Yes,
We would like to continue.
Okay, then I'll continue the hearing.
June
I
25th.
withdraw my previous motion.
Okay.
Move to continue until
June 25th.
June 25th.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous, so moved. And we, like I say, we will very likely be voting that night.
It's a long night. I might be doing it the next day.
Well, we can't do it after 12, so depending on who's there, we'll have to just move them along.
That's right.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thanks, Scott, good job.
Just see if you didn't enter the property. Yeah, if you have it with you, just-
Good luck with the marina as well.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
I guess I'll be seeing you soon.
It's up to Susan Nielsen. See you. Yeah.
Take care.
Gentlemen,
thank you.
any conversation, either out the door or down the hall and around the corner. Other business, discussion of unauthorized road work along Foster Road between Hesnacoy Lane and Minot Road.
Susan has to write it in. Yes, Madam Chairman, we got a call yesterday about a large amount of fill being placed in this area, dense grade and sand. By the time we got out there, I had the dense grade laid, a big pile of sand in the middle of the road. It is within your jurisdiction. It's right next to the Haddad parcel you bought along Minot Beach. It's within a barrier beach dune system. If staff would like to know what you would like us to do, we can advertise an enforcement hearing. I know Russ went down, Paul went down, not sure if any, Betsy went down, not sure of anybody else. I need to know, should the dense grade be removed from this area? And would you like to see an enforcement order issued? Because we can advertise for an enforcement hearing
I'll step in it.
soon. Okay.
Removal of the dense grade, I think, would be, I'd be inclined to think it would be more disruption
Okay.
than not. I think that whomever tried to avoid the process, or for whatever reasons,
They
were-
did reach out to the town, they did reach out to John Lyons and Don Hoffer. Unfortunately, they were not directed in the direction of the Conservation Commission. That said, they live right on a coastal dune. I'm not quite sure how you don't know what area you're in.
So, and I'm thinking
The
that,
corner of Minot,
yeah. So
west of Minot Beach.
But it's a private road.
It's a private road that the town owns to the center line in this
Yeah,
area.
it's not entirely a private road.
No.
Half the road is the town, because it's the Haddad property.
even,
Private road with us
Put
being
the
a
fill
part.
in.
The people who live on the other side of the
People
street.
that put the on the other side. Yesterday, we got a call from Natural Resources.
So-
If you do an enforcement action, Jen, who gets the enforcement action?
The person that did the work.
Do we know who that is?
Yes. We know the
I'm
property owner and the contractor.
motion to engage in enforcement action.
Okay.
Second that.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with you entirely. I'm not entirely comfortable with putting, what did we figure, it was about a foot? But we don't even know, because we couldn't look down.
It could be.
I would, we originally said 6 inches, I think, Betsy.
In depressions, it might be, maybe, if it was really bad. See, we have no before, and so we don't know. It's an extensive length. It's just something I think that,
Well, it's a work that could be done,
oh, absolutely.
but there was no attempt to
Contact conservation.
contact conservation.
And you
Courtney.
know, there was,
Courtney.
oh, sorry.
Can you put this in White's Landing?
So we issue an enforcement order. What are we enforcing?
There we go.
Now you've asked the question. In other words, if we aren't saying, take out the fill, take out the dense grade, what are we enforcing?
It's more of a learning curve on this one. You know, I'm not saying that there shouldn't be some action, but I truly feel that there'd be more detriment trying to take that dense grade out than the squeeze
on
would
how
have
they
to
do
worth
You
it.
can, when you get the enforcement hearing, this is just a discussion on how you want us to proceed. We can proceed with an enforcement hearing and we can discuss the dense grade and everything at that time. I mean, we don't have enough information right now to even make a decision on whether to remove it or not.
I mean, we don't, what are we gonna do? Slap their wrist and say, you're bad, you can't do that?
Oh, I think you guys will do something a little bit more.
You know, Tom, I
substantial
hear
than
you.
that.
I just want to make a comment on this. I hear you loud and clear that perhaps removing this stuff is going to be more detrimental, although there's no reason why we can't condition them to do it in such a way that it isn't detrimental. But my point is, if we don't do that, then basically what we're saying to people is you can go ahead and do whatever you want, and we'll slap your wrists, and that'll be the end of it. And frankly, you know, I think this commission has demonstrated, and I've been on this commission now 11 years, and I've seen a lot of change in this commission, for the better. By that I mean that this commission has demonstrated that it can work with the general public, with individual clients. It will be is relatively flexible. It employs common sense. So, you know, there was no need for these people to do this.
Well, and
No, let me finish. There's no need for these people to have just gone out and done it. And basically, they are giving us a good Anglo-Saxon gesture.
And not to play the devil's advocate, this is not as egregious in my eyes as it's an unpermitted activity that could have been permitted. They didn't cut into the sides of the road. They leveled off, they graded some things. It doesn't look like it's going to be pitching off to a side. I think taking an action and educating them, and I will honestly say that someone that lives on the other side of the street, the naivete of them, you know, I'm not within X amount of feet of the water, and if you have a contractor that's not familiar with any kind of wetland regs, and he's just working on a dirt road, you know, there could be a certain part of innocence to that. So I think that we could use this as a learning point, not just for this person, but for others that are listening to this, as hopefully all our discussions are. But that's my motion, is to have the enforcement done.
I'll see what the scheduling is. I'll try to schedule it for June 25th. If I can get it on the public hearing notice, I have to
Do you have a comment?
think about
Russ?
that.
No.
Okay.
No.
So we have a motion for an enforcement order. Do we have a second? Oh, we do have a second.
Yeah.
Oh,
Second, but I'm withdrawing my second.
you don't want an enforcement order?
No, I gotta agree with Courtney on this.
No, so then you do,
I
you do
know,
want to
but-
keep your second.
No, we're going to do an enforcement order, and you guys can discuss at that time whether
Yeah,
or
we're not
not you want to have them
making, we're
removed.
not saying
We're not saying
what the
we're just
result
going
of
to
the
leave it.
enforcement order is. This is just to have an enforcement order.
Yeah.
My discussion goes beyond
Yeah.
You can keep me in there then.
Yes.
No, Russell, I'm in favor of an enforcement order, okay?
So we have a motion
just-
and a second for an
so-
enforcement order. The terms of the enforcement order can be discussed
Discussed
when we
June
open
20th.
the enforcement
Yes.
order.
Gotcha, okay. That was rookie mistake then.
That's okay.
No, I-
You with us? Everybody with us?
Yep.
Yes.
Question?
Question, you can ask a
We
question.
have sand that's laying around on the sand. What happened between now and the time we discuss?
No, if there, for enforcement orders, if there's a stabilization element? You know,
The
like
road's
you're worried
stable.
about stuff is gonna,
Road stable.
if there's a stabilization element,
Didn't look stable.
No, that was in, that timeline, when those pictures were taken, more work was completed after that.
Oh,
And
okay,
so
all right, so now it's stable, all right, now I'm
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
good.
but that's
Okay.
that's the process. If there's an enforcement, if we discuss an enforcement, but it's, there's continuing issues, like it's gonna rain and a
Right.
lot of.
Well, that's what I was concerned
Then Jen gives the people permission to put up something to stabilize, so either jute mat or erosion control. Motion to second on the table for an enforcement order. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous, so moved. Board orders and conditions. We ready? Everybody ready? We have a lot. Are you waiting for an order of conditions?
No.
Oh, okay. You're just watching. Oh, all right. Vote orders and conditions.
We appreciate the live audience.
You seem to be quite amused.
Well, I was going, I'm just kind of observing, I was gonna fill a vacancy, but it looks like you filled them all.
No, we haven't.
No, we have not.
Okay, so
We
I'm-
actually have a 10-member board.
There are only 6 of us, but there are 4 vacancies, plus there'll be 2 more. Okay, 28 Nichols Road. Now, are we all on all these quorum?
Mike, Mario, who just walked out the door, Mike, Betsy, Tom, and Courtney. You have enough, go.
All right.
Mike, Mario, Russ, Betsy, Tom, Courtney.
Am I not on any of
That's
these?
everybody.
Courtney, with the last one I said, Courtney, right there.
No, I'm not on any of these.
I don't know. I think you're on all of them, Court, sorry.
Okay. 28 Nichols Road, let's keep going. Jen, you want to refresh our memory? 28 Nichols Road?
Cape and Island Engineering presented this, Matt Costa.
Yep.
Little house reductions, they're getting rid of the fire pit. He put a revised plan in with the flagpole
Yep.
and
The
gazebo is gone.
He's taken the shed
oh,
away.
taking the
Shed away, yeah.
Putting the drywall in that corner.
Putting the
Yep,
drywall.
And this, it's got the
Drywall in.
fence and we really like
He did
it.
submit his revised plan today, gentlemen,
With
or
the
yesterday.
drywall.
I think it was yesterday.
Oh, did
You
he
were
come
here.
in? Is
No,
that what he was coming in to
Yeah,
do?
he was dropping it off. That was yesterday,
Oh,
right?
he could have even told me he was doing that.
It was a public start. No, I called.
And
So, it's
Yeah,
a
it's,
few conditions here and there, you know, your standard conditions. The fire pit, not to confuse you, it would have been an enforcement matter had it not been addressed.
Right.
But they did come in and address it before we got there, and we were working with them to kind of avoid
right, and your
that
only concern
enforcement
about
issue.
the fire pit was that there's more than what appears on the surface.
yeah, but
Oh,
he's aware of it.
It was pretty substantial.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Motion to accept the order as discussed.
Second?
Any other comments? All in favor of the motion on the table, which is to accept the order as discussed, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Unanimous, so moved. 80D Little Island Road. Did he give us a new plan?
not quite sure if Tom has given us a new plan or not, but he did, that is the garage.
Right.
And you
It's gonna
guys wanted
move
that
3 feet
shifted.
to
So
protect
I
the
will
tree.
check the plan. If a revised plan has not come in, I will require a revised plan to shift the garage to save the,
Big tree.
The tree.
well, yeah.
Okay, motion?
Motion to accept the order as discussed.
Second?
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion on the table, which is to accept this as discussed, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous, so moved. 72 Rivers End Road. Which project is this?
There's McGrath.
Oh, that was
This is the house
the,
with the garage, it's gonna
yeah,
turn
yeah,
into
that
a
was
garage.
straightforward.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, they're all the same form. It's all last week. Oh, proposed, yeah, this was the proposed garage.
Yeah, I didn't have any special conditions on this one.
Yeah, he
Tom,
put the
did
plantings
Tom mention
in.
something about leaves on the bank there?
Yeah.
Oh, leaves
Just
on
a-
the bank,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, just
Or
to,
cleaning that bank or something?
Leaves on bank.
Tom,
And I couldn't find the stump. Must have been just
You look
firewood.
first down, you probably look for some sort of drainage pipe coming out from underneath the staircase on the bank.
Oh, I always look for drainage pipes now, too. Got an eye out for drainage pipes.
Yeah.
Okay, motion,
Sounds like we need a checklist.
I'll make a motion we approve as discussed.
Second.
any comments? All in favor of the motion on the table, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous, so moved. 322 Pinecrest Beach Drive.
That was the retaining wall that's failing.
Right. The lock system.
Who's the
Yep.
engineer?
Um,
Tavares is going to do the work. I met out there with them.
Retaining wall was
Holmes and McGrath. Yep.
Yeah. Met on site. They're gonna, the tallest part of the wall, the entire wall, now that it jogs down a little bit, the
Right.
retaining wall, the entire wall is gonna be at the elevation of the highest point of the existing wall. They're
Right.
gonna backfill it a little bit.
Right.
There's a little wetland there. It absolutely has to be repaired. They're gonna do it section by section.
Yep,
Tom, there were a couple of special conditions on the methodology that I have on the plan that I'll factor into
That we
your,
discussed. Right.
decision.
okay. We have a motion?
I think that was the only thing, Tom, is to really kind of get them to button down on what the methodology was.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep, just to verify that they're gonna do what they say they're doing.
yeah.
All right, motion to close and, motion to approve the order as discussed.
Second?
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous, so moved. 58 Bar Neck Road, Woods Hole Yacht Club.
Basically, repairing existing piers and floats. The only thing staff had is they need to stop storing their boats on federal land next door.
Okay?
Picky, but, you know, you're only picking on that stuff you are.
Russ has motion to approve.
And I have a second.
Got it? Russ?
I got that, I didn't get the rest of it.
The second is Tom.
I got that. I didn't get what you're talking about.
Well, the next part is,
Sending
58 Barneck,
oh,
Existing one.
piers and floats,
piers and...
it's repair existing
ramps,
piers
and
and floats and remove the boats that are illegally stored next door. Motion is second on the table to approve this project as discussed. All in favor,
Second.
say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, unanimous, so moved. 92 Edgewater Drive East.
That might not be the same form.
Oh, this is the
No,
dock.
it's the same form.
Yeah, this is one of Mike did them.
This is when they
Oh,
were
yeah.
proposing to repair the dock, and then all we had them do was shift the tie-off piling so that
Yeah.
it's more in line.
Yep,
And he has done that.
yep,
Motion to
approve as
approve
discussed.
is discussed.
Second?
Chorus.
Good.
Okay, motion is second to approve is discussed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous, so moved. 69 Barneck Road, Jewett Realty Trust,
This is Mike McGrath's project. They had come in for an amendment.
to
Then
reduce,
realized that
they couldn't, they'd get
was
triggered the
it cost-
50%.
Yeah, triggered
Right.
a special provision in the building code, and the project became cost prohibitive, so they're back to their original.
Okay,
Motion to accept as discussed.
Second.
motion is second on the table to accept is discussed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Unanimous, so moved.
Can I have my pictures of the dense grade, please?
Could we, that's great
Oh, wait, I
pictures.
think I have them.
Come in your direction. How about a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
So moved. There's two motions, three motions. All, everybody wants to adjourn. Everybody seconded.
Everybody second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, unanimous, so moved.